actually are approaching to attack us, will you believe me? All of them, present, they said, yes, we believe you because you are Al-Amin As-Sadiq. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically, you can see they developed his character, his persona, his character brand in the perception of all people in the community as being trustworthy and truthful. And that's why whatever he says, it is truth. So that basically is kind of actually it is, right? And it becomes for certain, yeah? It becomes a certain knowledge. So, and then to us, how it basically this knowledge has come to us is through the companions, Sahabai Kiram, Tabein, Tabein, the upright, honest, trustworthy, and truthful narrators. We broken chain, right? I think we know that say Imam Bukhari, rahimahullah, when he was trying to collect all the hadiths, compile all the hadiths in his Sahih Bukhari, he even discarded those hadiths narrated by the person is upright, honest, trustworthy, truthful, character-wise, everything is fine. But he found that he has got what is it called? His memory is not that good. Yeah. So he is a little bit forgetful. So he discarded the narration of those narrators even. Yeah. So we get clear, correct knowledge, and that becomes actually the actual knowledge. Okay. And at the same time, the other one is the other worldly things that we see or we hear or we feel even, those can be actually considered as ilm as well. But now, what is not knowledge? So in order to identify what is not knowledge, we need to, it's important to know that what is the whole purpose of knowledge. Ilm is not ilm, or there is no use of ilm if I cannot act on it. So that means the whole purpose of knowledge is to act, because knowledge is nothing but actually guidance. So it guides us to do something, to act on something. So that's why we need to first distinguish what constitutes knowledge and when it is actionable, when can we act upon what we presume to be knowledge. So now the what is not knowledge, that is, we see it's completely opposite of knowledge or completely opposite of ilm. That means the two opposite levels of knowledge, we can say. One is, it's basically jahalat. Yeah, among the jahalat, there are two jahalat there. The ignorance. Yeah, one is simple ignorance. Simple ignorance, jahal al-basit. Basically, the simple ignorance is, say, I don't know. Sincerely, somebody say that, okay, huwa adamu adra idraka bil kulliya, the total absence of knowledge. So this person, he says that he doesn't know. If you think, say, for example, if somebody asks you that, okay, how many years Prophet ﷺ actually, what is it? Say how many years he gave dawah of Quran or Islam, or after he got the prophethood, what's the life of his prophethood? So it was 23 years. But somebody says that, okay, I don't know. It can happen. So if he doesn't know, he is not trying to make it up. So it is called the simple ignorance. But the dangerous jahiliyat basically is al-jahl al-murakkab, the double ignorance or compound ignorance or complex ignorance. What is it? Basically, it is perceiving something in a way that is different from what it is. Okay, so basically, he doesn't know, but he says that if he says that, okay, no, the life of prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 20 years. And he is for sure that he in his mind, he is confirmed that it is 20 years, not 23 years. But actually, in reality, it is not 20 years, it is 23 years. So that's why, as when he would say that, okay, it is 20 years other than 23 years, and then he wants to stick to it, and that is called the al-jahl al-murakkab. So this person will be called al-jahl al-murakkab. Okay, so basically a person, he has got double ignorance. That is, he not only he doesn't know, but also he doesn't know that he doesn't know. That's why he is thinking that he knows whatever he knows, even if it is wrong information. Okay, so these are the two opposite levels of perception or of knowledge, is of the original ilm. Okay, but in between there are three, which cannot be considered as ignorance, but they don't reach the level of knowledge. So they are kind of in between. So in between, which are they? Okay, so now if we say that the worst level of knowledge is the Jahal al-Murakkab, that is the double ignorance, and the next level of what is it called? Not knowledge is simple ignorance, and just above it, it is called wahm, meaning the delusion. If we go into the desert, we see mirage. Yeah. So there is, we say, for example, we can have kind of a delusion that, okay, there is water there somewhere down there, but when we reach there, we see that no, water is not there. That is called wahm, the delusion. That means I perceive something, that there is water there, but actually it is very unlikely that water is there. Okay, so meaning not there is basically not having water there is much stronger likelihood, basically. Okay, so then the next level, a little bit better, that is called shak, that is doubt. Doubt means, like maybe there are two things. Okay, say, for example, if I think about there is a mountain between, say, I'm walking on the, on the daylight. Okay, so, I cannot see the sun. In between the sun and me is a mountain. So now I'm in doubt that whether sun has risen or not in the morning, right? So there could be equal possibility that, okay, maybe sun has not risen or sun has risen. So this is kind of a doubt. We can think about, say, for example, in a prayer, say in Zohar prayer, say, for example, maybe I have finished third rakat, or I have done four rakat, but suddenly I get into doubt that whether I did 3 rakat or 4 rakat. So then it is kind of equal. It could be possibility that 50-50, maybe I have done 3 rakat, or maybe I have done 4 rakat. I'm not sure. So that is called the doubt or the shak. And what is the ruling on it? Is basically if it gets to the level of zan, meaning a strong suspicion that yes, no, I have done only 3 rakat. So the ruling on it is, masala is basically, whichever you have got the strong suspicion that you have, no, I have done 3 rakat. So you do 4th rakat, or the vice versa, isn't it? The other way around. So the zan, the strong suspicion, we can act on it. So it has got 3 different levels. So the first of all, what we have learned so far is basically on delusion, we cannot act. It will not be permissible. On doubt, we cannot act. On two levels of jahalat, the ignorance, that is simple ignorance, without knowing, even we cannot believe. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, that have knowledge that there is no deity to be worshipped except Allah. Even our iman, our kalima, Allah is asking us to first know. So that means before we believe, we need to know. So knowledge effectively comes before belief. So if we don't have the knowledge that there is no deity to be worshipped except Allah, then how can we believe in Allah to be, one and only deity, right? So that's why, okay, if I don't know, this is obviously, and then I insist that I know, na'udhu billah. So if I act on it, I will only place where if it fulfills all the three conditions that we mentioned in the beginning, idraku shay ala ma huwa alayhi idraku jaziman, right? So basically, whatever I see, whatever I read, whatever I heard, I can see it is there in actual reality, and it is for sure, for certain. I have. If we say the Sheikh Albani, rahimahullah, he categorized the zan into three. Zan, say for example, I have got suspicion, but suspicion is very weak. My perception is very weak, right? I'm not sure. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna ba'da zanni ithm. Allah was basically, asking us not to suspect, because most of the suspicions are basically sins, because they have got very weak, foundation. Okay, but there are zan, it's a strong presumption, or zan when it becomes almost yaqeen, that is certain, it falls into the category of ilm. Say for example, in Quran, in different places, zan has been actually expressed as under these three categories. Say for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Haqqah in verse number 20, Inni zanantu anni mulakin hisabiya. Indeed, I was certain. So that means this zan is basically zan yaqeen, certain suspicion, certain presumption. So that means it goes into the category of ilm. So, and then one can act upon zan, one can do the ijtihad on zan as well. Okay. So now, if we summarize, basically, who I want to get the knowledge from. Obviously, I wouldn't try to get the knowledge from somebody having no knowledge, that is having simple ignorance, or definitely I would not want to even be with, the person who is al-jahl al-murakkab, the having compound ignorance completely, that he doesn't know that he doesn't know, right? So I will try to, get to the source or the person or the scholar who has got, the number one category, that is ilm, the certain knowledge, and maximum I can search for the zan, which is with strong presumptions, basically. Okay. So now, I think having said that, if we then move on to say, for example, okay, I understand this is, what is knowledge, but then I need to find out, what are the sources of knowledge, and which knowledge actually I should try to, say, for example, in terms of, you know, say Sharia ruling, that talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli Muslim, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, seeking knowledge is fard upon every Muslim, men and women. Yeah. So the seeking knowledge, then how much, to what extent I should actually seek knowledge. So in order to know that, I need to find out in terms of in my, how do I say, like the sources of knowledge. Where do we normally get the knowledge from? Number one is his, it is called the sensory knowledge, like as I mentioned, all the sensory organs, like eyes, we see, ears, we hear, nose, we smell, yeah, tongue, we taste, skin, we touch, yeah. So that means, there's somebody somebody, if he touches you and his hand is cold, so you feel cold, right? So that means his hand is cold. So I'm getting it from the sensory source. And there is another source is akal, the intellect. For example, say you saw a smoke somewhere, then even if you don't see the fire, your intellect knows that the smoke should come from a fire. So, then you say that, okay, there is fire taking place in that particular place, right? So that is also kind of knowledge that you can get through your akal. And this akal or intellect, actually, it helps progress the science and technology in the world. Yeah. Number three, very special category, is called the ilham. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, I have put ilham. It is like the intuition, or it's a sudden thought or sudden vision into, into the minds or the hearts of the humans. Yeah. Fujur and taqwa, Allah said, the bad and the good, right? And it is up to them. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Those who take the path of purification, they will be successful. And it is up to them. If he wants to take the path of corruption, then he will be doomed. So that means we know that stealing is bad, telling lie is bad, telling truth is good. These are all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put ilham on us, in our heart, right? So that is the intuition. Sometimes it could be, say, for example, a vision coming to your mind, or maybe you can think about, your true dream. Yeah. As Rasulullah said, the true dream is 1/46 of prophethood. Okay. We can think about on a practical level, the example could be, say, Newton's, gravitation law that Newton discovered. He was sitting and suddenly in front of him an apple fell on the ground, and then he was thinking that why did it fall on the ground? Why didn't it go to the sky? And from that momentary vision or the thought, he basically came out with the gravitation law, right? So this thought, it is intuition or ilham. Okay. Number 4 is the most important one, that is the revelation, wahi. Yeah. And we need to actually, when it comes to this idea that talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli Muslim, that seeking knowledge is fard, or the obligatory upon every Muslim, it is mainly actually indicating this knowledge of wahi. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to tell us, the qul, say, O my Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, hazihi sabili, this is my way, ad'u ila Allah, I call people to Allah, upon what? Ala basira. Basira means the knowledge I receive from the wahi, from the revelation. right? This certain knowledge that is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah asked him to tell us that, so that he says, Ana wa man ittaba'ani. That is, this is my path, and it is the path for the people who want to follow me, meaning his ummah. Okay, so that means for us, we need to actually learn the knowledge of Wahi, and that is our basically the obligatory knowledge. Now, when we say obligatory knowledge, how much? Like as a regular Muslim, do I need to basically seek knowledge like a scholar? No. How much is obligatory upon me? The ilm from Wahi, it is obligatory, the fard. Okay. So number one is basic knowledge required for a believer to follow the instructions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at every stage of life. Why? Because Allah said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that we have created the jinn and the humans for nothing but worshipping me, my ibadah. إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So that means every moment of our life, it is not only just 5 times prayer we do ibadah, no. Every moment of our life, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 29, 30, 31 days a month, right? 365 days a year, and the whole lifetime, basically, every moment, Allah is saying that whatever we do, we need to transform that into ibadah. So in order to do that, basically, whatever knowledge is required, and that is obligatory. I need to learn all the fundamental, the knowledge of doing the fundamental ibadah, that is how to pray, all the arkan ahkam, how to fast. When Hajj becomes fard upon me, then its knowledge, seeking its knowledge will become fard upon me. When it becomes zakat becomes fard upon me, then the learning the knowledge of paying zakat, who to pay, will become obligatory upon me. So these are the just fundamental ibadah bit. What about the rest of the ibadah, which are mu'amalat, the engaging in the dunya, with the society, with the humans, with the family members, with friends, colleagues, yeah? So to engage in the dunya or the worldly affairs, every moment we need to follow the command of Allah. We need to seek his satisfaction, right? So sometimes it could happen, say, for example, any worldly activity or action we do, we can turn that into basically, the ibadah. If we can, say, for example, if when I'm eating, I'm having lunch or dinner, if my food is halal, if I say Bismillah in the beginning, and in the end, if I say Alhamdulillah, then it becomes, and if I have bought my food by halal income, so then it becomes ibadah, So when I go to sleep, before I go to sleep, Bismika Allahumma amutu ahya, and then when I wake up, Alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatana wa ilayhi nushur. So it turns out to be ibadah. And it becomes even better if I do wudu before I go to bed, and before I sleep, I keep on reading, say, Surah Ikhlas, Surah Falak, Surah Nas, or 3 verses of, say, for example, last 3 verses of Surah Baqarah, Ayatul Kursi, and I keep remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until I, basically go to sleep, yeah? So then it becomes ibadah. Everywhere we have to turn our action into ibadah, but in order to do that, whatever knowledge is required, to seek that required knowledge becomes obligatory upon me. What is the other level of knowledge that becomes obligatory? Is, say, for example, if I get married, so to learn how to maintain my family, how to give the right to my children, what are the rights of my wife on me. All these knowledge become obligatory knowledge for me to run my family in the manner that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes, happy, satisfied with me. Okay. So now to summarize, what are the knowledge that are obligatory upon us? Number one is the knowledge of fundamental ibadah. As I mentioned, 5 times prayer, fasting in the month of Ramadan. Okay, like this. When Hajj becomes obligatory, when Zakat becomes obligatory, right? And then next is knowledge to maintain family, family. It becomes obligatory after my marriage. Knowledge where, how, what to spend becomes obligatory. These are some examples. After I start earning and living on my own. Say, for example, a person who lives with his parents and he doesn't have the responsibility of earning yet, or earning and spending yet. So at that time, how to what to earn, how to earn halal rizq, and where to spend it to. Even if I earn so many millions, yeah, I cannot spend it according to my will. Rather, I have to find out what are the sectors basically Allah wants me to spend my money on. So, say for example, what are the rulings that إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما. Say for example, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning in Surah Al-Furqan, one of the qualities of Ibadur Rahman is Allah is saying, this is what Allah wants from us. So, as a quality of Ibadur Rahman, that is, whenever they spend, they do not become extravagant. Extravagant meaning they don't spend too much. They don't cross the limit, but at the same time, they don't become miserly. Rather, وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا. They stay in between, in the middle, right? Whatever is necessary to fulfill their decent necessities, they spend, but they don't become, and they don't do israf or tabzir, like basically they don't become spendthrift or kind of extravagant. They don't cross the limit in spending. Okay. So now, then comes, like, okay, obligatory, we understand. Then, are there any other level of ilm that we can acquire? They could be, say, for example, essential ilm for our living. Already we gave some example. Okay. Whatever is necessary for our living, those knowledge we need to learn. And number 4, say, for example, is the naful ilm. So it is not obligatory to know something which is not obligatory on you. But naful ilm, if you want to, you can actually, it is encouraged. That is studying knowledge for an hour. Say, for example, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, studying knowledge for an hour at night is better than keeping, staying awake, for nafil prayer. Okay. Or another one is, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said the superiority of the scholar over a normal abed, superiority of the alim over a normal abed, meaning worshipper, is like, as Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, my superiority over the lowest among you, meaning the companions, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is saying. In another place, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said the superiority of the scholar over the worshipper is like the superiority of the moon on the full night over all other normal stars, right? One faqih, one jurist, basically, obviously jurists are scholars, yeah, is stronger against shaitan than 1,000 worshippers. The knowledge basically at this point, maybe if I tell you a story that I think all these are kind of it will come in the excellence of knowledge effectively. Say when Adam alayhi salam, was thrown out of Jannah and thrown into this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, قُلْ نَحْبِطُوا مِنْهَا جَمِيعًا فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. That you go down with your wife in Jama'ah together to dunya, and as long as I'm going to send the book of guidance, as long as you're going to follow it, that means again, book of guidance is book of knowledge. As long as you follow it, you will not have any fear, and you will not have any فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. You will not have any tension or grief or stress. In another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, wala shakka, meaning no difficulty, effectively. So that means your life will be smooth. And how? If you follow the book of guidance I'm going to send you, meaning the book of knowledge. The whole Quran is actually the book of knowledge. So now how knowledge saved Adam alayhi salam? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, that mentioned that that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught him the dua, which is the Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna min al-khasirin. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided to basically forgive his shortcoming, Allah has taught him this dua, that is again knowledge. Dua is knowledge. So Rabbana zalamna anfusana, oh our Lord, we have done zulum, oppression on our nafs, on ourselves. Wa illam tagfir lana, please forgive us. Watarhamna, not only forgive, we need your rahmah as well. So we need your blessing as well. Otherwise, if you don't forgive us, if you don't put your blessing, the rahmah, on us, then we are going to be doomed. We are going to be among the khasirin. We are going to be from among the losers. So maybe I stop here. I think I've gone over the time. So maybe if I stop here, if there is any question on this. So far, what I did, I talked about is the main definition of ilm, what is ilm and what is not, and the sources of knowledge, among them wahi, the revelation, meaning the Quran and hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I didn't mention that there are three types of hadith or sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which are qawli, fi'li, takriri, whatever he said, whatever he did, and whatever he approved. Said, did, approved. These three things are called the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that you can say there are four sources, the main sources, the Quran, and among the hadith or the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, three: whatever he said, whatever he did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and whatever he approved. All these are kind of the pure main sources of our knowledge of Islam. And there are some other sources, derived sources. Maybe we'll talk about that in the next session. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Sheikh, mashallah, very enlightening talk. And so as the Sheikh mentioned, if you have any questions, you could put it in the chat on the Zoom. And then inshallah, we'll be able to answer it. And in the meantime, if you guys are thinking of questions, I just had two quick questions regarding the talk. One was, mashallah, you went over the Islamic definition of knowledge, which seems very sophisticated in comparison to how in the West we define knowledge, where it's just information. You know, you just go, you don't have to act upon it, you don't have to have conviction, you just have information in your head. So the questions I have is one, is there any book that you could recommend that perhaps we can read to kind of get a summary of the Islamic conception of knowledge? Um, so that's question number one. And second, because you mentioned that one of the things about ilm is you need to have conviction. So again, in the West, you don't need conviction. You just need to just take the information. So from an Islamic point, how do we get that conviction? How do we uh, transfer information that we're getting when we're, for example, sitting in a darus or halaqah? How do we translate that into conviction so that it becomes ilm?
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Like some of the bit I would want to actually do a little bit elaborately in the next session. Yeah.
Okay.
Say for example, as I was trying to touch upon, who should we take the knowledge from? Where should we take the knowledge from? Isn't it?
Mhm.
I think that's what you're trying to get at, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
so now you say from these six category levels of knowledge that we mentioned, when we say knowledge, meaning some information, right?
Hmm.
Six levels of information I have, and out of that, there's just only one category actually gets considered as knowledge according to Islam, right? So now, if you think that from there, actually, there is a clue there.
Hmm.
If you see somebody, that person may be have got a big long certificate, yeah, from different institutions, right? But you see that the person has got a habit of base his discussion on wahm, delusion, or
Hmm.
maybe doubt, or maybe this person is kind of jahal al murakkab, like anything that he says, even if it is not correct, he insists on it. So definitely, no matter how many degrees that person has, do not take knowledge from him,
Hmm.
right? Say, for example, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah, before he died, is the people were asking him, after your death, who we should ask questions. Then at the moment, I don't remember the name of the person he mentioned, but he mentioned someone. Everybody became really, shocked. They were saying that, why do you refer that person? That person is not that knowledgeable.
Hmm.
He is not considered to be that level of scholar.
Hmm.
Eh. So then Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, rahimahullah, he said that he is an honest person, he is sincere person. When there is ikhlas there, Allah will help him get to the true decision, true knowledge.
Subhanallah.
Can you see? So that's why it is, who is Jahil al Murakkab? Basically, those who have got arrogance, isn't it?
Hmm.
If somebody has got arrogance, even if he has, I know, alhamdulillah, Allah has given me the tawfiq to do dawah activities there in the whole Europe, in so many countries, including the UK. Alhamdulillah, and I am originally from Bangladesh. I did dawah activities there as well. I have come across so many people say, the person has done the hips, of 30 juz. And then after a while, he forgot.
Hmm.
The person has got, triple Kamel, say in Bangladesh, it's called triple title, right? Alim Fazil Kamel, yeah? So from one of the top Islamic institutions, yeah?
Hmm.
Uh, but subhanallah, he cannot say anything about ilm because he forgot.
Hmm.
Can you see? So that means we need to be I would touch upon all the criteria of a person you want to take ilm from
Mm-hmm.
in the next session, inshallah. But main thing is, out of these 6 levels, where he mainly, what is it called? Generally, stays on. Does he? Does he try to always stay on, say, wahm or maybe shak, right? Say they say there are people, they've got a habit, okay, they want to always deal with doubtful matters.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot stay away from doubtful matters, or he cannot, away from delusional matters. Say for example, in Quran there are two types of verses. Yeah, one is the muhkamat, another is the mutashabihat. So the good knowledgeable people, they will always try to concentrate on the muhkamat. The muhkamat means the hukum. Yeah, the commands, clear commands. You have to pray 5 times a day. You have to fast in the month of Ramadan. These are very clear cut, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But there are verses which have got double meanings, mutashabihat. So if you see that the person, instead of focusing or concentrating on the clear cut verses, he has got always a tendency to dwell with like mutashabihat, double meaning verses. And then he tries to basically, you see, that tries to get some advantage, in his favor as he wants, right? So
Mm-hmm.
please, we need to stay away from those kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Does it help? Does it give you some answer to your question? Definitely,
Definitely.
we'll touch up on in detail in the next session on this.
No, definitely. I mean, I find it very helpful because, again, I think in this age and generation, we're the information age, and somebody can think they could just go take a class, even a non-Muslim who's teaching about Islam, or go online, and they think they'll get ilm. But as you're making these distinctions, it shows that you have to have certain criteria to have basically ilm, that knowledge that will actually benefit you, as opposed to just information. And that's very important because I think a lot of people just see knowledge as information, uh, to basically make that distinction. No, Jazakallah khair. Really
Barakallah
appreciate it.
fikum. Barakallah fikum. Sir, as you were asking, say, for example, Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, he has kind of categorically, step by step, he defined what is
Mm,
beneficial knowledge.
okay.
He's saying, al-ilmu maqamu alayhi dalil. Knowledge is whatever has evidence
Mm,
for all types of knowledge, whether it is religious or other.
mhm,
Ilman nafi'ah,
mhm,
right? And then he's saying that, وَالنَّافِعُ مِنْهُ مَا جَاءَ بِهِ الرَّسُولُ, that the beneficial knowledge is what comes with prophets,
mhm,
nobody else. Can you
mhm,
see? Why? He's saying because there could be knowledge from other than the messenger, but it is in the worldly matters. It could be examples are, say, for example, accounting. He was mentioning, well, hisab, well, falahiyah, you know, what tijara, like the accounting, economics, farming, trading. Yeah. So, if, as long as it is beneficial, say, for example, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that إِذَا مَاتَ الْإِنسَانِ إِنْ قَطَعَهُ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ, that whenever a man dies, all his amal, the door of all his amal gets closed, isn't it?
mhm,
Except three. What are
mhm,
these three? Sadaqatun jariyah, which is,
mhm,
the charity in perpetuity, yeah? And then ilmun yantafa'u bih. Whatever knowledge he has left, that is beneficial. And
mhm,
the third is waladun saleh yad'ulah. That is the righteous children who basically pray for their their parent, right? So you can see it is ilmun nafi'a, ilmun yantafa'u bi. Any ilm that is not beneficial is not ilm. Simple. Say, again, he is mentioning like this: وَالْعِلْمُ الْمَمْدُوحُ الَّذِي دَلَّ عَلَيْهِ الْكِتَابِ والسنة, what is it? Like, والسنة الذي ورثة الأنبياء. That is the praiseworthy knowledge indicated by the book. Kitab means the Quran, and the Sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which was inherited by the prophets. Now, what is the easy way to do? Just, you write down in the Google and find out something. You may find out, say, for example, I see that, we Sunnis, we are Sunnis, isn't it? I see that in the online, whenever I search in the Google, there are Shia websites more than the Sunni websites. I don't know whether you have come across. So now, if I don't know, how can I I may fall into this serious trap of maybe swearing at Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu, na'uzubillah, isn't it? Khulafai Rashida. So that's why what I need to do is I need to be guided by an alim at the least who I trust. Trust that he will not tell me any knowledge. He will not answer to any of my questions if he doesn't know. If he doesn't know, he will say, I don't know. He will be sincere. But at the same time, he will be dynamic as well. He will not be lazy. Stop there. I would have to basically keep the companionship with such alims, those who are sincere, those who have got the courage to say that La Adri, I don't know. Not every question that they have to come out with answer, no. As Imam Malik rahimahullah, he was hundreds of thousand miles away he came from. And then Imam Malik rahimahullah, he saying more than 30 questions, he said, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Then this man became very upset. He was saying that, oh Imam, knowing that you are the best alim in the world at the moment, I came here. And you are saying you don't know more than 30 questions. Just tell me, there are questions I brought from my fellow villagers. Yeah. What should I tell them that I met Imam Malik? What should I tell them? Do you know what Imam Malik said? Imam Malik said that, tell them that Malik doesn't know.
Wow.
Can you see? SubhanAllah. So that's the, inshallah, I think I should stop here. Yeah.
No, Jazakallah khair. It's very enlightening. And it looks like we're out of time. So if anybody has any questions that you could think of after this podcast, I put the email in the chat, and as well as the link to the website risala.tv. You could put it through that. And just a quick announcement before we close. We're going to be having a session on December 22nd with Sheikh Imran on the topic of marriage and family according to Quran and Sunnah. So that will be our next session, December 22nd at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the next session for this series on ilm will be on December 28th, inshallah, and we'll update you all regarding this. I guess you guys are all signed up, so we'll update you the details. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Imran, for
I
giving
think
us
just
your time.
a quick point on the 22nd. Was it 22nd? Is it?
I believe that's what it says
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
flyer.
So
Yeah.
it will be Q&A session on family and marriage, inshallah.
Q&A, yeah,
No,
Q&A
not talk.
session.
So if you have got questions, inshallah, I think there
Okay.
will be some Brother Muhammad Ashraf, he would be able to tell us better. There will be opportunity for people to write questions somewhere, I think,
Yeah.
before the event, inshallah. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Jazakallah khair. Sheikh,
Barakallah.
Brother Muhammad, if you want to mention anything, otherwise we can close off.
Yeah, inshallah, you can close. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah, Sheikh.